Florida's legislators are considering several major changes to the state's property insurance laws in an effort to stabilize the market. Here to discuss the ongoing challenges in Florida's market is Sridhar Manyem, Senior Director, Industry Research and Analytics, and Christopher Graham, Senior Industry Analyst, both in AM Best Industries Research and Analytics Department. And Sridhar, did anything of note come out of the start of the latest special session?
Thanks for having me, John. And we haven't seen anything, any concrete developments right now. As soon as the special session just started yesterday, and I think there's one whole week of deliberations and voting left in order for these proposals to become promulgations and into law. So I think we need to wait and watch for what is going to take place. But what was encouraging is the fact that there is a special session, and this is the second special session in the year, which tells you the importance the government is placing on righting the insurance market. And some of the proposals that came last weekend, just before the start of the special sessions, like reforming attorney fees rules, the time taken to file a claim, for example, I think that's a big factor in creating a huge tail on homeowners' losses. So you have roofing contractors going around Florida, even if the roof is like 3 years, so there's a statute of limitations of 3 years to file a supplemental claim. So even after 3 years, there are possibilities for a small hail damage shingle to turn into a full-fledged roof claim. So definitely the lawmakers are considering the right things. Now, what's going to come out of the special session? How the insurers will they trust these reforms, or will they wait and watch for these reforms to evolve and season? That's to be seen. But it's encouraging, at least they're having a second special session and the right things are being talked about.
To what extent do you think that Hurricane Ian is putting pressure on lawmakers to address these issues?
Absolutely. I think Hurricane Ian was kind of a wake-up call again to insurers and reinsurers and legislators on the effect of climate risk. So Florida is dealing with climate risk and litigation risk. All the other states that have climate risk are dealing with just one thing, climate risk, which to a certain extent can be solved through pricing, diversification, use of reinsurance, etc. But then you combine the climate risk and the litigation risk, then it becomes a big problem to solve. And Hurricane Ian again highlighted the fact that, hey, there are still risks in Florida. The climate risk is something that's square and center that needs to be dealt with. And the reinsurance market was already kind of backing away from Florida property, and Hurricane Ian kind of cemented that attitude and confirmed that probably they were doing the right thing in terms of putting more risk-adjusted capital in other risks where the prices are increasing and they have more chance to get their cost of capital and returns back.
Chris, there have been some insolvencies in Florida this year, and Citizens is writing more business as a result, I assume. All things considered, can the state attract back some of the larger national writers?
Hi, John. Thank you for having me today. To the point about the insolvencies, FedNat just filed for Chapter 11 yesterday, which is the sixth insurer to fail in Florida this year. Citizens, their policy count's certainly ballooning. Their premium is pushing $1.5 billion, but even they got hit hard by Hurricane Ian. Their Hurricane Ian loss that they posted is about $3.5 billion. So with only $1.5 billion of premium and $3.5 billion in losses from one event, they're going to take a big hit too in their surplus. Are they even going to have the ability to write any more new policies going forward? It's getting to be really tight. Can they attract more? Well, something has to be done to do it. Right now, if you look at the 5 largest writers of homeowners insurance in the country, outside of Florida, those 5 account for over 50% of the homeowners market. In Florida, it's only about 15%. So those writers certainly have an appetite for homeowners insurance if the situation in Florida becomes more attractive. That's probably going to take some time, though. That's certainly not something that's going to happen overnight.
If you look at Hurricane Ian, definitely a wake-up call. Irma was a wake-up call. But then if you look at what happened after Katrina, Rita, Wilma in 2005 to 2017, there was not any major disasters in the Florida market, and still the national carriers were not reluctant to come in and take advantage of the soft reinsurance pricing and other factors that might have made Florida attractive. And that tells you a lot about the litigation aspect of the state and why they were reluctant to come in the first place. So now with Hurricane Ian, I think it's going to pose more challenges. And like Chris said, I think it's a show me kind of a situation. So show me the reforms work for a long time, and then maybe they'll come in, but it's going to be difficult to attract them in the short time frame.
So what would a worst case scenario look like should we see further insolvencies and reinsurance just gets unaffordable? Chris?
I think you'll see an affordability crisis for the homeowners in Florida. If they can't buy, if the local insurers can't buy reinsurance and they rely heavily on the reinsurance, if they can't buy it, they're going to have to raise their own rates just to have the capacity to keep the business they have. That's which in turn works its way to the homeowners. How many of them are going to be able to afford such steep rate increases? Who knows? But you could see people having to leave the state simply because they can't afford the homeowners insurance. That I think that is your worst case scenario. Your best case scenario would probably be something just in general more stable that gets to resemble other states. There are some things unique to Florida, like the hurricanes being the obvious one, that will make it different from the rest of the country, but there should be out there an equilibrium that can be reached down the road.
Thanks, Chris. Sridhar.
Thank you, John.
That was Sridhar Manyem, Director, Industry Research and Analytics, and Christopher Graham, Senior Industry Analyst, both in AM Best Industry Research and Analytics Department. You can find the full report online at ambest.com. For AM Best TV, I'm John Weber.